seafood. It's one of the towering pillars of our Australian culinary reputation.
A reputation that's recognised throughout the world for its sensational taste and sizzling innovations.
But there's more to great seafood than just what you see on your plate.
And you're about to dive deep into the full story of how it gets there.
I'm Andrew Eddinghausen. I've spent the past 2 decades fishing for fun on screen, yours and mine. Now I'm getting serious, teaming up with some of Australia's toughest professional fishing crews and introducing them to some of the country's most creative chefs.
Together we'll sail Australian waters from east to west
to show you the whole amazing journey from ocean depths to the heights of culinary delight in each delicious adventure of seafood escape. What better place to commence our journey across the fisheries of Australia than in the colourful fishing and trading ports around Perth? Western Australia is blessed to have an abundance of fresh seafood available, and up and down the coast, commercial fishers work hard to bring their catch to the fish markets and restaurants for us to enjoy. And this is where our seafood escape begins. Western Australia has long had a great reputation for the quality of its catches and the quality of its dining scene. And in this series, we're going to meet both the modern seafarers and chefs who are carrying that banner forward. When one particular fishery stars in the street art of a port town, you can be sure it's an important one. So no prizes for guessing which species is on my menu this week. And it's entirely appropriate that our very first seafood voyage should get underway in the dark. This early morning hour is the usual clock-on time for the crew of Helsinki 2. Their mission is to catch the octopus species known as Tetricus in a fishery that's less than 20 years old, yet already with an international market and reputation. I'm heading up for a big day at sea alongside deckhands Rob and Jason, with skipper Martin at the helm. We're also joined by Brendan Pratt. He's head chef at Indiana Restaurant, right on the sand at Perth's famous Cottesloe Beach, where octopus features prominently on his menus. Now he's heading out to see it in its rawest state. Well, we've just come out of the cut just south of Mandurah in Western Australia, and I'm with the boys from Fremantle Octopus, and we're about to see what these guys can do. Now, these guys get out there and chase them in big numbers, and this is a sustainable fishery, which is awesome, with all these octopus heading back to the fish markets and to the restaurants in WA and around the country.
Got 1,000 pots in the water at the moment.
1,000 in the water, and so you work these on a cycle?
Yeah, every 7 days they get pulled. We pull 350 each day that we go out, so we work 3 days a week. So they're in the water all season, the whole year round. Each time we bring them in, when they start getting a bit of growth, they clean up, so we've got to give them a scrub. We've got a bright orange float that represents the north end of our lines.
We've just pulled up on the first part of the line here, and you haven't done this before, have you, big fella?
No, I haven't been out here before.
Well, we're
been out of my comfort zone out here.
We've got Jason and Rob, and up the front we've got Martin, who's the skipper. We're going to just drift along the line, and these guys are going to be pulling them in. We're going to see what happens, and hopefully we can get stuck into it ourselves.
Yeah.
Skipper Martin Paul prepares to grapple the line aboard, and then the hard work for deckhands Rob and Jason will begin. They clear the marker buoys away to get the deck ready for action, and within seconds, the first of the octopus traps are coming aboard. 3 traps together is 1 pot, and there are 50 of these pots per line. Each one weighs in at 50 kilo, and that's not counting all this sand. Bit of an eye-opener. The extra load of sand has built up due to heavy wave surges while this line's been on the bottom, and it has to be sluiced out with extra salty water, which also provokes the octopus to come out of their traps. And if the trap becomes caught up, the job becomes even more hard work. Not to mention, a lot more dangerous. Good thing the skipper's there to lend a hand. Wow, this is pretty crazy stuff. The guys are going flat to the wall. At the moment, there's loads of sand inside these traps, so what they've got to do is hose it all out. Make sure that these beautiful little crabs, as you can see here, they've got a whole box of them. There's a light that goes on up in here and flashes, but these crabs are the things that actually attract the octopus into the trap. Pretty amazing stuff. Baited and set for another drop, the pots have to be cleared away quickly to the stern. It's relentlessly dangerous and hard yakka.
Now he's bucket. Up in between his eyes.
But it soon pays off.
From there to our rinse bucket. 5 minutes from there, they go into our ice box. I tell you what, these guys go at an amazing pace. It's absolutely flat out.
There's no interchange bench to give these boys a spell, and the work calls for skill as well as strength. It's like watching a footy game on fast forward.
Here comes a big one right now. Down on there, through the centre. Brain spike him straight away. Body goes straight in.
It's a pretty standard sort of catch. You've had all the sand and all the, the bad weather. We're sort of expecting less or more.
So this counts as a pretty quiet day in the office for these blokes. And Brendan and I are getting breathless just watching them. How are we going to go when it's our turn to tackle the job and the yockies?
How heavy are these octopus?
Average octopus about 1.2 kilos.
Yeah, right.
We get some big ones up around the 2 to 3 kilo mark. Every one that comes in there's a $10 note.
There's an incentive to keep the work rate up, pot after pot.
It's full on out here.
And the pots don't get any lighter as the guys start counting down to the last of the line.
Here we go. Couple more. Here comes 20 bucks. 90% male. This one in here is eating a cuttlefish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, he's a big sucker too.
He's just having a little snack.
Oh, look at that.
There's the cuttlefish head. And the octopus is eating this cuttlefish.
And that's the end of the line. It's like half-time in a hard-fought game. And a break in which Brendan and I can learn more about how it all works.
All right, so this is the bait. How do you actually set the pot?
Right, you get the crab, there's a double bit there with a hole in it. You stick the pin of the crab into the hole.
It goes through and pokes out the back.
Then we pull the string, which lifts the door up.
Crab's pulled. That'll slip off.
Yep.
Door will shut.
Slam shut.
Half-time's over. And the second half of this game is as strenuous and exacting as the first.
They send them straight back out again. So in about 12, 15 minutes, all these pots will be back down on the bottom, working again.
Brendan looks pale, and we haven't even started yet.
Amazing. 50 kilos, straight up onto the deck, straight out in the water. You're talking about 50 of them. Let me tell you, these guys are super tough. You're not only got to be physically strong, you've got to be straight on your game, because if you muck up here, you're in all sorts of trouble.
And the relentless pace goes on, hooking pots up to the line that just keeps on rolling out. All the way until the end. In this brief moment of relative peace, the crews still have work to do, sluicing sand and weed off the decks. And we've got a break coming up for lunch. Octopus boat Helsinki 2 heads back for a well-earned lunch break. And look what's on the menu. Now deckhands Rob and Jason can relax and watch Brendan work.
Well, mate, we're out in the high seas today.
Yeah, we were.
Chasing octopus, it was pretty different, eh?
It was amazing. I mean, I've never experienced anything like that before.
Obviously, octopus is different. What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to do a quick Szechuan pepper octopus with fennel kimchi and a squid ink and orange dressing. I'm going to get started on the kimchi first. So I've got a nice fresh bowl of fennel here.
Fresh is best, I guess.
Fresh is best.
So very finely cut.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it nice and fine.
Is it a combination? Do you get like sour and sweet,
Yeah.
hot?
Kimchi's all about sour, sweet and spice. And then just a few little bits and pieces like curry leaves here, chili and some miso and squid ink and orange that will really just bind it all together. Slice some spring onion as well. To that.
And is this a hot chili or?
This is just a mild red chili. What I really like about them is you get that real nice chili flavour from them without having to sacrifice the flavour of everything else.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna dice some shallot now as well. garlic again.
And you're cutting it short like that. It's all together. You don't have
Yeah.
to worry about it breaking up
So
as you bring it back across.
Oh, it's called brunoise,
Okay.
French, and
That's
it's
great. I'm going to use that one. That's tip number one for me.
tip number one.
Yeah, that's great.
A little bit of ginger.
Adds a great flavour.
I could have used a bit more ginger maybe out when we're out in those high seas
Yeah,
today.
that's right. Yeah,
Keep the stomach a little bit.
That's it. Yeah, the old stomach churns out there. It's not that easy, is it?
No, it's not. So I got some spring onion too, which I'm going to slice nice and finely to add to the kimchi. Bit of colour, so it's nice and sweet. Some curry leaves. If you crush them up a little bit,
Okay.
they got quite a smell to them.
Oh, yeah. And we've got a good following of keen observers around here who are itching to taste this final dish.
Just at like your normal supermarket? Or
Yeah, most woolies have it. For the dressing, we're going to make a miso, squid ink and orange dressing to go with it. It's miso, mirin and sugar, and just brought it up to the boil to just dissolve the sugar.
What's that?
Squid ink.
Squid ink.
Yep.
Wow.
For colour. And also to tie into the octopus.
That's a dark brown. Now she's going to go a little bit black.
Go black. Some rice wine vinegar, splash of rice wine vinegar for a bit of tartness.
And have you ever caught a squid?
I have.
Oh, they can be
Ended up-
very, very messy.
Ended up very badly.
That squid ink often just doesn't sit in the bowl. It's all over your face and clothes. A great marine animal, but
That's why I wore black today, so I didn't get any of it.
just in case.
And zest. Just
Okay,
a
so
little
this
bit of orange.
sweetens it up a bit. You've only used that a small amount.
Yeah, I only want to use it small because you don't want to overpower everything else. And the juice is just for a little bit of acidity as well. Just for a bit of freshness. Do it. Yeah, spot on. So now all I want to do is just use a nice sharp knife, thinly slice it. All right. So,
I think you might have caught that one today.
I think so, yeah. That was the one that couldn't get off my arm, I reckon.
Yeah, he's.
Just a bit of olive oil on top. This is Szechuan pepper, so it's a
Okay.
bit of salt.
Even though the plate's that hot, it's not going to burn the actual
No.
garlic or the
If
onion.
you cut it so small, as soon as it starts to cook, I think that's right about now.
You don't need long for octopus.
No, not from this state. We've sliced it nice and fine, probably about 30 seconds.
Yep. Wow, that smells great.
And then just for the finishing little bit, a little splash, good WA white wine.
What does the white wine do?
White wine is just for a bit of steam, just to help it finish a little bit.
Yep.
And also just a bit of another level of flavour and sweetness. The best way to get flavour into your dish. And we're just going to scoop it onto a bit of absorbent cloth.
Gosh, that smells good. Wow. All right, plating up time.
Plating up. So the fresh fennel kimchi.
Oh, that looks tasty.
That fresh. Sit the octopus on top.
Wow, that looks terrific.
Dressing on top. Some nice fresh nasturtium flowers and leaves. Just add a little bit of colour and pepperiness.
Well done.
Have it.
Brandon, sensational. Look at that. That's fantastic. It's a work of art, mate. After you, Skipper.
Don't trust me.
Delicious. Lots of flavours in there, boys. Oh. This is where your octopus ends up. Gotta have a second.
Oh, well done.
What do you reckon, boys? Not bad? Very different.
Oh, have to go at that one.
Well done.
Thank you.
When we're filming in and around Perth, I love to stay in Freo, here at the Fremantle Executive Apartments on Norfolk Street, just up the road from Marina. A perfect place to stay. With Brendan's delicious lunch in our bellies, we're heading out to bring more octopus back to the table. But this time, as the pot hauling machinery cranks back into action, Martin and his crew expect a less strenuous shift because Brendan and I are going to work. The first pots are coming up, so the moment has come for the rookies to spell the pros.
Wow, they're working so fast, these guys, but we're going to have a go. What do you reckon?
Let's have a crack.
Oh, Occy already. You want to give that a crack? On the table, in the middle. Well, that's good. First one out of first trap.
And just another 49 pots to work our way through.
So these go in that way, long side in first. Here it cooks here. Okay, beauty, righto.
These big rubber gloves aren't just to keep our hands dry. They're protection against bites from the deadly venomous blue-ringed octopus that often come up with the weed and sand.
Oh, look out.
But that thought doesn't slow Brendan down as he throws himself into the heavy lifting.
There he is.
And I'm into the swing of it as well.
There you go, Brendan.
It's hard to imagine that this huge mass of tentacles was as small as a 5-cent piece less than a year ago. But that's how fast these ockies grow.
Throw him up, give him a go. Then we've got a nice kilo of octopus that's actually grabbed the spike.
About a kilo of pure muscle to wrestle every time. Skipper Martin keeps the pots coming up at a crushing pace. And this is a homegrown industry. These trigger pots were developed and patented by the guys at Fremantle Octopus. And today, there are 16 other boats and crews in the area working like this.
Hey, that's the way.
And native sand groper Brendan is loving it.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But the sea's lumping up, the boat's rolling much more, and I wonder how long he and I can keep this up. The pros don't seem to notice the worsening conditions. This is still well within their comfort zone, and they have catch targets to reach.
Aliens.
The octopus they catch are sent overseas in such large volume that there's now a regular marine container run from Frio to New York.
This is hard work. What do you reckon, mate? They earn their bucks, these guys.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
At last, we get our turn to plant the pots back on the ocean floor. And if anything, the work pace intensifies. Yet with all this activity, there's no danger of overfishing. We're working within a 600-tonne catch allocation in an area where scientists estimate the octopus population to be about 4,000 tonne. That's what I call sustainable. Finally, the relief of sending the last of the pots out over the stern. And the ordeal's over. Or is it?
But it's very rough out here. I think the swell's picked up to 2.5 metres. You can see Brendan's not feeling that great. I think he's just found out how hard it is for these boys to get the seafood on the table back to the restaurants. It is hard yakking out here on the water. These guys really earn their pay.
And Brendan has really earned his pain. Let's hope he recovers quickly because he's got more cooking to do. On Octopus Boat Helsinki 2, the hard day's work is done. While Skipper Martin brings us back to port, Deckies Rob and Jason weigh out the catch. And no one's happier to see the calm harbour waters than rookie crewman Brendan Pratt.
Yeah, on dry land, it's always a good thing.
And he's even happier to be back at Cottesloe Beach in the Indiana restaurant. So what are you going to prepare for us today?
Slow cooked octopus with white almond, pickled grapes and samphire. So this has been cooking for 6 hours. So we've done it in burnt butter, a little bit of rosemary and raspberry vinegar. So I'm just going to cut this into small bits just so when we grill it, it gets a nice bit of colour onto it.
Now, you generally do have to treat octopus, don't you? Because it's not something you can pull straight out of the water and throw in the pan.
Exactly.
How long do you put it in here? A minute or so?
Yeah, about a minute. Yeah, we just want to get a little bit of colour onto the octopus. So we just want to sort of get a nice bit of caramelisation on it. Really intensify those flavours that we had in the bag with the octopus.
Wow, it's looking good.
Just onto a little bit of cloth here.
So what's in here, Brendan?
So it's just a dark chicken stock that's been made with onion, garlic, rosemary and bay leaf. And then in a pan over here, just a little bit of butter. So we just got some beautiful fresh samphire. They call it the asparagus of the sea. And then we're just going to drop the samphire in. And you just want the butter just to be bubbling there. All you need to do is just warm it. And now I'm just going to take a couple of these nice red grapes. It's going to add a really nice freshness to the dish. And with these grapes, I'm just going to roll them around in a little bit of raspberry vinegar. It's just going to add another layer.
Flavour upon flavour.
Yeah.
So what's this here?
So it's just a little bit of white almond blended up with a little bit of milk, some bread, some sherry vinegar, onion and garlic. Place our octopus. Just going to grab some of this nice samphire.
It's all about adding some colour as well.
That's the best thing about this. Nothing on the plate is there just for looks. They also add that really nice dimension as well. Next, the pickled grapes. Freshly pickled grapes.
It's like a work of art. Beautiful.
Some of this dehydrated chorizo.
I didn't think octopus could look this good.
This is just the lemon balm, and then finish it with a little bit of sauce.
That looks magnificent. One more trick of the trade.
So this is the cloche that smoke the dish with the lavender.
Oh, that's crazy. Look at that. Do you leave it in for about a minute?
Yeah, for about 30 seconds or so, and the waiter will take it to the table. The waiter will just lift it.
Oh, insane. That's magnificent. Masterpiece, mate.
Thank you.
Look at that. Just incredible. Well, the boys are watching over there very eagerly. We've got the crew, so I'll be able to share some of this with them. Looks pretty awesome, hey? A taste you can enjoy at home with the recipe on our website, or see fishfiles.com.au for more information on octopus. And stay tuned to this channel for much more fishing and feasting. And make sure you follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram.
I look forward to seeing you next week when I head off on another seafood escape.